Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show. In the later time, Lin You had been hiding in that forest, killing the lords who passed by. In just over an hour, nearly 20 lords died at his hands, and none of them were spared. How much magic energy those lords provided him? Less, only 2,000 or 3,000 points. There are many, even tens of thousands of points, and their hands are more or less stained with a little human blood. Altogether, Lin Yu's accumulated magical energy finally broke through to 100,000. This is also thanks to that the battlefield treasure is strong enough, and it took so long to be snatched away. Instead, Lin Yu made a fortune. And his kill ranking has also increased from more than 900 to more than 500. For the time being, there is no need to worry too much about being targeted. Besides, just looking at the list, those people wouldn't know who he is. Seeing that the treasure was taken away by someone unknown, the lords in the distance gradually dispersed, and Lin You also quietly left there with his troops. After walking around on the battlefield and killing many monsters and lords, the sky finally got dark again. Lin Yu's luck is good. He has never encountered a lord with more tier 7 troops than him. It seems that he has been assigned a relatively weak battlefield. After finding a safe place to rest for the night, he set off again and went around hunting lords of other realms. If you encounter someone who is stronger than him or has more people than him, just lead the troops away quickly, and never do anything you are not sure about. Relying on this method, it went smoothly until the third battlefield treasure appeared. The number of treasures this time, as he expected, was less than before, and it became 3 directly. In contrast, the number of lords that appeared has also increased a lot, almost doubled. There are constantly lords coming from all directions and frantically joining in the scramble for treasures. The screams and screams spread all over the world, and could be heard even from a distance. Lin You took this opportunity to ambush more than a dozen lords from other realms, earning a full 110,000 magic energy. Including the previous ones, the total is more than 200,000. However, he also clearly felt that the further back, the stronger the lord's strength, and the more difficult it would be to kill. Moreover, he was more or less with 1 or 2 or even more tier 7 troops, which caused him to lose a lot of plants. Until the treasure has been scrambled for, there were only 4 7th order and 56 6th order left beside him. Even if you count the 7th order tree demon summoned by Lingxi, there is only 1 more, and it is not permanent. It seems that this method can no longer be used tomorrow. Lin You whispered softly. More than 200,000 mana is enough for him to do many things. He's not greedy either, he just takes it when he sees it good. Immediately leave the battlefield with the remaining troops, away from the place where the treasures are contested. However, it backfired. He hadn't gone far when a strange figure suddenly appeared, blocking his path, with a group of resentful soldiers he had never seen before. Why is it weird? Because the one with the Wraith armies is not a human being. Instead, it was a vague human figure composed of a spiritual body, emitting a dim light all over it. Coupled with the resentment troops flying in the air, it looks so strange and strange. This is a lord in a realm dominated by spirit creatures. It was the first time for Lin You. Having seen lords other than humans, he couldn't help but be vigilant. At the same time, the other party was also looking at him. Then came a voice full of jokes. "Human, hand over the magic energy, I can leave you a whole corpse." To be able to communicate with him normally. Lin You was startled. But immediately, his expression turned cold. It's not certain who will keep the whole body, for whom. Since this is the case, then I have to grab it with my hands. You are lucky to die in the hands of our primordial soul realm. After the other party finished speaking, he didn't talk nonsense to Lin You, he immediately drove the resentful spirits around him and charged straight towards Lin You. Lin You was like a big enemy, and directly issued an attack order to the plants around him. Whoosh whoosh. In an instant, several air-breaking sounds rang out. The vines of the blood enchantress swept into the air and met the group of resentful spirits flying towards him. However, What Lin You didn't expect was that after those vines passed through the body of the wraith, they did not defeat them. Instead, they turned into shriveled vines and fell down one by one, as if they had been drained of vitality. Idiot, physical attacks are useless against my resentful spirit, come on, drain me of his soul. Just listening to the other party's stern shout, the speed of those resentful spirits was suddenly mentioned, and they came to Lin You in a blink of an eye. Lin You paled in shock, and finally understood why the other party was so fearless. Seeing a large number of resentful spirits rushing towards him, there was an explosion from the soles of his feet, turning into sharp arrows and flying away, letting those resentful spirits rush into the air. It's useless, you can't escape. The arrogant voice came again. Lin Yu's plant troops launched attacks one after another to try to rescue them, but all of them penetrated through the body of the resentful spirit. In the blink of an eye, 2 Dryad generals and a blood enchantress were drained of their vitality by the resentful spirits, and they collapsed into a pool of rotten wood. Then those resentful spirits continued to chase after Lin You. These resentful spirits are obviously only 6th order, but I didn't expect them to be so difficult. But even so, the other party seemed to despise him a little too much. Physical attacks don't work, but mental attacks don't work. The poisonous mist that seduces the banshee contains mental attacks, and even the 7th tier troops can be temporarily controlled, let alone the 6th tier. It seemed that he felt Lin Yu's thoughts. At this moment, the flower crown of the seductive banshee suddenly opened, and a large powder mist was sprayed into the air, covering him directly. Those resentful spirits roared and crashed into the powder mist, lost their direction in one fell swoop, and began to streak around. After a while, they dissipated into the air one by one like deflated balloons. It really works. Lin You was delighted and stopped in an instant. It seems that these wraiths have their own weaknesses at the same time when they get such a strange attack method. In just a blink of an eye, all the resentful spirits that had penetrated into the mist dissipated, and not a single one remained, causing the Lord on the opposite side to shake violently. How come? He probably didn't expect that the plant system would also have psychic attack units. With a scream, he immediately turned around and fled with the only remaining resentful spirit. www.lightnovel.com. Where is the arrogance just now? And just when he turned around and was about to run away, an invisible wave had locked him in. The body that was originally in the retreating posture was instantly stunned in place. Then Ling Xi's wooden thorn shot out, with a poof, mercilessly penetrating the light group at the position of his head. In the next second, his body, as well as those resentful spirits, all turned into a puff of blue smoke and dissipated in the air. Congratulations, you successfully killed the 6th order Heteroplane Lord, obtained 90,000 mana, and the 6th order Territory Essence X1. It seems that the light group on the opponent's head is the weakness, and it was directly destroyed by Ling Xi's attack. Moreover, the magic energy carried by the opponent is also extremely exaggerated, a full 90,000. Let Lin Yu's magic energy soar to more than 300,000. It's simply a huge sum of money. This guy probably hunted down a lot of other lords. But it's no wonder that his troops are so strange and hard to guard against. A little bit of carelessness might have caught his way. This time, if Lin Yu hadn't had a 7th order seductive banshee, I'm afraid it wouldn't be as simple as losing 3 arms. There's still the last day, it seems that you have to be more careful. Tomorrow's noon is the 3-day period for them to teleport the battlefield of the myriad realms. None of the lords who have survived until now are simple characters. Some of the lords have even more tier 7 troops than him. Once they encounter it, it will be dangerous and unpredictable. The best way is to find a place to hide first, and wait until noon tomorrow to teleport out of here directly. This is both safe and secure, so Lin You didn't continue running around, but found a place and repaired it temporarily. The night passed quickly. Today is the last day of the Battle of 10,000 Realms, and it is also the day when the lords are about to teleport away from the battlefield. As soon as the day dawned, many lords had already taken action. I'm going to get another amount of magic energy in the last half of the day. Some of the weaker or more cautious lords chose to stay on the side and waited honestly for the arrival of the teleportation. However, what everyone didn't expect was that, just as the sun is gradually rising and the sun is shining on the earth, a golden beam of light soaring into the sky suddenly appeared in the center of the entire battlefield. Accompanying it, there is a prompt without any emotion. Lords, the ultimate secret treasure on the battlefield, the Belief Orb is about to appear. Using the Faith Orb can directly obtain 500 faith power. The treasure will be revealed in an hour until the battlefield is closed. Quiet. The entire battlefield was terribly silent. But the next second, it exploded suddenly. Fuck. Orb of Faith. Get the power of 500 faith directly? Did I hear it right? With so much power of faith, can't it be easily upgraded to a 7th order lord? All the lords were shocked, and they didn't expect such treasures to appear in the end. That is a real resource for upgrading territory. As long as they can get it, they can directly rise to the 7th rank and easily crush all the 6th rank lords. Even Lin You, who was already resigned, was extremely moved. After all, what he lacks the most right now is the power of faith. What I want most is the power of faith. Not even a lord can resist such a huge temptation. Let's go take a look too. Finally, Lin You made up his mind and hurried towards the center of the battlefield with the plants. At the same time, the lords who were in every corner of the battlefield also gathered there. From a distance, you can already see many lords passing by mistake, running on the battlefield, which is even more spectacular than the previous treasures. In less than an hour, countless lords appeared near the beam of light. When Lin You arrived on a wooden lion, lords from all walks of life had gathered within a kilometer around the beam of light, vigilant against each other across the distance. Look around. The entire battlefield is full of lords and all kinds of strange troops. Lin You couldn't help but feel a little surprised when he saw several non-human lords, but overall, humans are still the majority. After all, the human species does not count as other abilities, and learning ability and compatibility alone can crush many species. So it is understandable that these realms are dominated by humans. And the appearance of Lin You naturally attracted the attention of many people. Especially when they saw the demon concubine dragon hovering above his head, many people were even more surprised. That plant dragon doesn't look very simple. I've seen a lot of plant-based units, but I've never seen such a dragon-type flying unit. Looking at this body type, shouldn't it be a 7th order soldier? It's very possible, remember to be careful later. Among the lords, there are many groups who act together. They were all whispering about Lin Yu's demon concubine dragon. But immediately, there was a rumbling sound in the distance, which attracted their attention. I saw at the end of the other end, a large cloud of smoke and heavy footsteps suddenly spread out. Taking a closer look, it turned out to be a huge team made up of giant mammoth beasts, ramming straight towards the battlefield like this. The 20 mammoths in the lead were covered with thorns all over their bodies. They were even bigger than the other mammoths, and even their skins were dyed golden. The 7th order golden mammoth. He is the 19th bachelor on the kill list. That's right. I saw him before when I was robbing treasures on the battlefield, and a charge of a herd of beasts knocked all the lords away. Hey! So fierce. There are actually 27th order arms. Such a strong strength. The lords whispered again and again, and they all made way for the mammoth herd, and they did not dare to block each other. Gradually, a shirtless, burly man came into everyone's eyes. It should be the bachelor in everyone's mouth. Hee, the ancient world is so majestic, so arrogant even in appearances. At this moment, another gentle voice sounded, interrupting the exclamations of the lords. Before they could react, the terrifying demon swept over the heads of the lords and flew into the arena slowly. A young man in a brocade robe sat on the shoulder of one of the demons, looking proudly at Bachelou, who had just arrived, and the other lords below. And among the demon arms around him, there are actually 22 Tier 7 double-winged demons. Humph. Junhauren, I just had a fight with me yesterday, do you still want to fight again today? Bachalu, who was sitting on the back of the mammoth beast, snorted coldly, not giving the youth a good look at all. When the surrounding lords heard this, they were even more shocked. This terrifying demon youth turned out to be Junhauren, who ranked 15th in killing enemies. And he played against Baturi yesterday. Even Lin You, who was on the outskirts of the crowd, was extremely surprised. 22 7th-tier arms, or demon arms, were only ranked 15th, which was beyond his imagination. Although the number of kills does not fully represent strength, it also shows that these people are not much weaker. One can imagine how terrifying the top 10 people are. Fortunately, he hadn't encountered these characters before, otherwise he would have only escaped. And as time went by, more and more lords came over, each with their own troops. There are less than a dozen, and dozens more, almost all over the battlefield. The friction between the lords also began to occur frequently. Before the treasure appeared, many people started to do it, and it even became more and more intense. Lin You even saw a lord with more than 37th order arms in the crowd. I can't stay here anymore. With just one glance, Lin You made a calm judgment. As a lord who just arrived, he has no way to compete with those old lords. www.lightnovel.com. He is not stupid, of course. It can be seen that this orb of faith appeared only to force the lords to fight. Although the 4 7th-tier troops around him are not weak, there are more lords stronger than him. What's more, there are so many lords on the field that he can't even count them. One spit can drown him, let alone robbing treasures. Let's go, let's get out of here first. Lin You glanced at the beam of light that was far away from him, and the battle that was gradually spreading towards him. Without any hesitation, he turned over and jumped onto Mu Rancher's back, taking the plants away from the center of the struggle. And just as he turned around, there was a sudden exclamation from the crowd. Look! The beam of light has begun to change. This exclamation can be said to have appeared very timely. The lords who were still fighting all looked at the beam of light in the center of the field. I saw that the golden beam of light began to rapidly gather in one direction under the gaze of countless pairs of eyes, and finally condensed into a golden orb that floated quietly less than 2 meters above the ground. The whole scene was quiet for a while, and then exploded with a bang. It's the Faith Orb. The Faith Orb has appeared. Get out of the way. The Faith Orb is mine. Come on. Grab the orb. Want to steal the orb? Go to hell. In an instant, all the lords made a mess, rushing to each other, frantically, desperately vying for that unique orb. As far as the eyes can see, there are surging crowds, troops, and attacks from the sky. As if the river was overturned, a terrifying storm was rolled up in the center of the entire battlefield. Faced with the sudden scuffle, Lin You didn't dare to stay for long, and immediately took the plants and quickly evacuated the scene. But even so, there are still many lords who are stealing chickens and earning magic energy from the periphery attacking him. Kill. Not a single one. Lin You directly gave orders to the plants around him. A guy like this, who only dares to sneak attack on other lords on the periphery, is basically not that strong, and many of them don't even have the 7th-tier arms. In the blink of an eye, 2 lords blocking the way died under the attack of the plants. Congratulations, you successfully killed the 6th order alien lord, obtained 3000 magic energy, 6th order territory essence X1. Congratulations, you successfully killed the 6th order heteroplane lord, obtained 4000 points of magic energy, and the 6th order territory essence X1. All of a sudden, another 7000 points of magic energy were obtained. The surrounding people finally saw Lin Yu's tyrannical strength. But even so, there are still quite a few lords who are red-eyed and want to give away their fortune one last time from all directions. Kill. What? The screams of killing, as well as the screams, kept echoing in my ears. In desperation, Lin You had to let the plants protect him and frantically kill those troops and lords who blocked him. A sound of reminders kept ringing in his mind. In less than 10 minutes, he obtained 50,000 to 60,000 magical energy, which was several times faster than when he set up an ambush before. See this. Lin Yu's eyes gradually narrowed. With the current situation, he definitely has no chance to grab the Faith Orb. And the Faith Orb is good, but it's still far from the point where he's desperate. So why not take this opportunity to make a fortune? The more he thought about it, the more Lin You moved. He suddenly accelerated and rushed out of the melee area. After arriving 2 kilometers away from the mixed station area, he finally got rid of the harassment of other lords and began to stop and prepare. Lin You took a look. After the melee just now, there were 5 less 6th order plants around him, and there were only over 40 left. But it doesn't matter, these arms are enough for him to implement the next plan. After thinking about it, he recalled the flying demon concubine dragon and wooden shadow dragon to the ground, and then let 6 twin mushrooms, including the mushroom demon king, and a cactus warrior climb on their backs. Exactly. In this last short half-day, Lin You is preparing for a big wave. Go ahead, be careful not to be attacked by other flying units. When Lin You finished speaking, the 6 wood demon dragons, led by the demon concubine dragon, roared into the air and flew towards the place where the crowd was the most dense. Immediately afterwards, mushrooms and thorn fell from the air and fell to the bottom of the crowd who were fighting desperately. Boom boom. The violent explosion, accompanied by a large amount of screams, blew up the fighting lords and troops in one fell swoop. And Lin Yu's ears also began to sound reminders one after another. Congratulations, you successfully killed the 6th Order Alien Lord, obtained 3000 magic energy, 6th Order Territory Essence X1. Congratulations, you successfully killed the 6th Order Heteroplane Lord, obtained 4000 points of magic energy, and the 6th Order Territory Essence X1. In less than a minute, Lin You had more than 20,000 magical energy in his account. And it is still increasing at an extremely exaggerated rate. The lords of other realms have been bombed to death on the spot, or they were grabbed by the spikes flying out of the thorn ball when they were about to be killed by other lords. And through the spiritual connection of the demon concubine dragon, Lin You also sensed the situation in the center of the battlefield. To sum it up in one sentence, it is like purgatory. Everyone was fighting each other frantically, and there were corpses of lords and soldiers lying everywhere. Everywhere he could see, it was dyed red with blood. And the radiant Faith Orb is constantly changing hands. As long as anyone dares to touch it, they will immediately be attacked by a group, and they will be overwhelmed by the attack of the sky in an instant. Bulwark of holy light. At this moment, a loud shout suddenly sounded in the middle of the crowd. The 4-winged angels of the 7th Order spread their wings, bursting out with incomparably holy and dazzling brilliance, forming a huge semicircular field around them, covering the Faith Orb. Immediately afterwards, a young man appeared riding on an angel, snatched the Orb of Faith, and flew straight into the air with the angels. The number of those 7th Order angels actually reached as many as 30. However, even with such terrifying strength, when he just flew into the air, he was entangled by the vines rising into the sky one after another and dragged him down. Want to run? Come down. Hearing a loud shout, the young man and the angels around him all fell to the ground with a bang, and the Faith Orb also fell to the side. In an instant, all the Lord troops swarmed, frantically grabbing the orbs in their hands. Lin Yu's face was solemn, and he didn't dare to waste any more time. He let Yao Feilong and Mu Yinglong speed up the bombing of the crowd, and the lords continued to lose their lives under his bombardment, and his magical energy has accumulated to an exaggerated amount of more than 400,000 in a short period of time. After a while, there was another change in the Faith Orb. I saw that the Faith Orb that was being scrambled for was suddenly bitten by a giant mountain beast that drilled out of the ground, and it burrowed into the ground. As soon as those lords reacted and wanted to chase, there was a loud boom where they were, and they all collapsed, revealing a mountain-piercing beast inside. The number is nearly 40, and all of them are Tier 7 troops. In the blink of an eye, those mountain beasts burrowed into the ground with the Faith Orb and burrowed to escape. But at this moment, another lord who controlled the 7th Order sandworm shouted, and directly asked the troops around him to use the sandification skill to turn the ground into broken sand, and then rushed into the ground, forcing the mountain beasts out. What followed was an attack from the sky, drowning it in an instant. It seems that the strongmen who are hiding in the crowd have finally started to take action one after another. According to the current situation, www.lightnovel.com, it will only be a matter of time before this orb of faith is taken away. Once the young orb is taken away, the lords in the entire battlefield will surely surge wildly and fall into a terrifying melee. If you get too close, you might be involved in it. I'll come back. Lin You made a decisive decision, immediately called the demon concubine dragon and Mu Yinglong back, and hurriedly left the center of the battlefield. As predicted, it didn't take long for a thunderous roar to sound from the center of the battle. A large group of 7th Order bone dragons appeared, spewing a large black nether fire downward, instantly killing the troops around the Faith Orb. Along with the Faith Orb, they were also caught by the bone dragon and quickly taken away from the scene. Hurry up! The lords who reacted followed up with their respective arms, and they left the center of the battlefield in a blink of an eye and spread out around. The lords on the battlefield fell into turmoil in an instant, and the escaping and rushing rush began to spread outwards. Many people want to make more money in this last time, which is even more red-eyed. Fortunately, Lin You ran fast and was not affected by the spread of the Lord army. Because he is very clear, it is extremely unwise to join this kind of mixed battle. Life is gone, what's the use of magic energy and treasures? However, this time he didn't fail. On the way to escape, Lin You took a look at his magic energy. It was 500,000. This is much more than the Faith Orb. Seeing that noon was not far away, he gradually accelerated his pace, found a hidden terrain nearby, and hid it temporarily. Just wait for noon to pass, and immediately teleport away from here. Congratulations, all lords, for successfully surviving for 3 days in the battlefield of 10,000 realms. The teleportation is about to start, all lords please prepare. A familiar voice resounded in the minds of all the lords. After 3 days of fighting to survive, the battle of 10,000 realms finally came to an end. All lords and troops were enveloped in light and began to teleport. All the fighting in the battlefield also stopped at this moment. I can finally go back. Lin You stood up slowly, feeling the familiar suction force coming from his body, and finally heaved a sigh of relief. Although these 3 days are short, many things have happened, and there have been many unexpected changes. But whatever it is, the result is good. Not only did he survive successfully, he also gained a lot of resources. For him, who was extremely short of resources in the early stage of development, it was definitely a huge gain. I don't know how Huangsha City has developed in the past 3 days. Whether the city wall has been built, whether the population has settled down, and all kinds of things are waiting for him to go back and deal with it. While thinking about it, the white light on his body gradually lit up, and with a swoosh sound, the troops around him disappeared instantly in place. The entire battlefield was also empty. Huangsha City. On the main street connecting the city gates at both ends. At this time, the sun was shining brightly. Travelers and merchants who come and go keep passing by, shuttling between the stalls of newly opened shops. Come and see, the freshly baked meat buns. Come on, cassava cake, a specialty of Huangsha City, don't miss it. The 2nd Order white fox fur that just came back from hunting this morning, 10 magic crystals are taken away, take a look at it if you are interested. The shouting, as well as the shouting, spread all over the surrounding streets and alleys. Compared to when Lin You just left, Huangsha City has become much busier. The streets are full of pedestrians and vehicles passing by, going between shops. There are also many cultivators who come here from other cities to hunt monsters in the Gobi and earn magic crystals. The city wall of Huangsha City has also been basically completed, blocking the wind and sand on the Gobi, and the living environment has also improved a lot. All of this is due to Xue Changgui's management during this period, as well as Wei Gang's vigorous publicity, which has gradually made Huangsha City famous, and this time, Xue Changgui and Wei Gang were standing outside Lin Yu's territory with a large number of people, waiting expectantly. Today is the day the lords return from the Battle of 10,000 Realms. They have lived on the primitive continent for so many years, and they are well aware of the horrors of the battlefield of all worlds. If Lin You were unfortunately killed on the battlefield, it would definitely be a huge blow to them, and it might even bring Huangsha City to a standstill. So they can't help but worry. No, it was just noon, and a lot of people gathered spontaneously to wait for the final news. Commander Wei, you said, can the Lord return safely this time? Shuechanggue, who was standing at the front of the team, asked worriedly. Wei Gang, who was beside him, frowned and said firmly, the Lord is very lucky and will definitely return safely. We'll just wait here. Actually, Wei Gang didn't have a clue in his heart. He had lived in Futaba City for many years before, and had seen too many lords who had been teleported to the battlefield of 10,000 realms and never returned. Even those lords who are extremely powerful may not be able to guarantee 100% that they will be able to come back, let alone Lin You, who went to the battlefield of 10,000 realms for the first time. Shuechanggue naturally knew this, and sighed slightly, I hope that's true. After speaking, the two of them didn't say anything. The whole scene gradually quieted down. The travelers and merchants passing by in the distance also cast curious glances at them or point at them. Swish! At this moment, in Lin Yu's territory, a beam of light lit up into the sky. The people who were still waiting were suddenly shocked. It's Lord Lord. Lord, he's back. It's really Lord. In exclamation, Shuechanggue and the others immediately came to the edge of the vine forest outside Lin Yu's territory and kept looking inside. Pedestrians in the city also stopped and looked in the direction of the beam of light. What's the matter? Did this happen? It seems that the Lord of Huangsha City has returned from the battlefield. You can't be wrong, I saw it once in Futaba City before. The Lord of Huangsha City is really good at being able to return safely from such a dangerous place. Indeed, not many of the lords of the nearby cities can come back from the battlefield of 10,000 realms. It seems that this Yellow Sand City is finally about to rise. Then what are you waiting for? Hurry up and buy a piece of land here first. The passers-by in the city were talking a lot. Shuechanggue and the others outside the city were also very excited. After the light faded, Lin You and his troops finally appeared in the territory, causing the entire territory to start shaking. Immediately afterwards, the protective shield protecting the territory and Yellow Sand City shattered, turning into fragments and disappearing into the sky. Came back. Lin You couldn't help sighing, and glanced around. It's only been 3 days, but it feels like an eternity. Sure enough, it was his territory that was the most familiar and cordial. Okay? Suddenly, Lin You let out a light hum, and looked at the surrounding environment in surprise. He found that the vine roots of the green vines have become much thicker than before, and even the forest outside the territory has extended from more than 200 meters to nearly 500 meters. What is even more exaggerated is that its body almost grows to the same height as the Tree of Life. It uses the giant vines on its body to completely protect the trunk of the Tree of Life and the Lord's log house, as if adding a layer of protection. On the Tree of Life, there are also small vines that go down vertically and dance continuously in the air, as if welcoming Lin Yu's return. Could it be that when he wasn't there? Advanced? Lin You didn't have time to care about other things, and immediately came to the Tree of Life, www.lightnovel.com, to check the information of Qingting. Name, Mad Banshee Ivy, Royal Family. Race, Plant. Level 7, 12/2500. Strength, 900. Physique, 900. Agility, 75. Spirit, 820. Skills, Devouring, Poisonous Mist of Blood, Forest of Thorns, Bloody Frenzy, After Sucking Blood. Various attributes can be greatly improved, the more sucking, the more the enhancement, with no upper limit. Introduction, one of the 3 branches of Banshee, Withering, Charm, and Madness, a terrifying plant born for war. Blood can greatly stimulate its potential, and the more you fight, the more brave you are. It was exactly as Lin You expected. Qingting has advanced. And it has also advanced to become the blood branch of the 3 branches of the Banshee, the Frantic Banshee. After reading the introduction of the newly comprehended skill, Lin You was completely shocked. The more blood you suck, the more your attributes will increase. This is simply a plant born for war, and there is no upper limit. If he had this plant in the battlefield of 10,000 realms, wouldn't he be able to kill the quartet? The more he killed, the more courageous he would become, and in the end he would even grow to a level comparable to the 8th tier troops? It's really possible. After all, in the battle of 10,000 realms, the most important thing is blood. Moreover, Qingting, who had advanced to the 7th rank, finally gained the ability to move. Although it is only a few dozen points, it is also a huge leap. Unfortunately, there are still 3 months before the next battle of 10,000 realms starts, and his idea probably has no chance to be realized for the time being. Thinking of this, Lin You looked outside the territory, where Shuechanggue and the others were already waiting. As the giant vines around the territory dispersed, Shuechanggue and others from outside the territory also hurried in. Lord, you are finally back. Shuechanggue came to Lin You excitedly. The other people on the side also had uncontrollable joy on their faces. Seeing them, Lin You couldn't help sighing. Yeah, a lot has happened, but he still came back. It's good to come back, it's good to come back. Shuechanggue said repeatedly. You don't know how worried everyone is, afraid that you will never come back. Yes, if there is no lord in Huangsha City, I don't know what to do. Wei Gang, who was beside him, agreed. It can be seen that they sincerely hope that Lin You can return safely, and Lin Yu's hard work during this period is not in vain. After looking around, Lin You asked, how's the construction of Huangsha City going when I'm not here? Has anything major happened? When the Lord goes to the battlefield of 10,000 realms, the territory and subordinate territories will be protected by rules, just like the safety period when they first arrived. So Lin You wasn't too worried about safety. Rather, it was the first to ask the question of construction. When Shuechanggue heard the words, he immediately stood up and said, Lord, everything has been normal in Huangsha City during your absence. Thanks to Commander Wei's outgoing management, many businessmen have started to do business in Huangsha City spontaneously, and many people have also been attracted to settle here. Now the entire Huangsha City adds up to almost 2,400 people. So much? Lin Yu's eyes lit up. He did not expect that Huangsha City would develop so rapidly. It seems that Shuechanggue and Wei Gang worked very hard when he went to the battlefield of 10,000 realms. You did a good job. You are all heroes of Huangsha City. After I'm done with things these days, I will reward you and everyone well. Thank you, Lord. Shuechanggue and others responded with joy. Didn't they do so much to gain Lin Yu's approval? Hearing what Lin Yu said now, one by one suddenly became excited. The hard work of the past few days was finally not in vain. Next, Lin Yu asked them about the current situation in the territory again, and after a few words of encouragement, he let them go back first. After everyone had finished walking, the territorial passage was closed again. He just came to the open space and took out the hero transformation pool blueprint he had obtained earlier. Architectural blueprint, hero transformation pool. Architectural introduction. It is possible to convert designated arms into hero arms, awaken exclusive talents, and gain the ability to command other arms at the same time. It is only valid for arms of the 7th rank and above, and the number cannot exceed the Lord level. Conversion consumption, magic energy, troop level x 10,000. Construction required, 500 stone, 250 iron ore, 250 copper ore, 2,000 magic energy. This blueprint, but he spent a lot of means and tried his best to grab it. Now I finally succeeded in bringing it back to the territory. Naturally, you don't have to think too much, just choose to use the drawings. The materials for the construction of the hero transformation pool have been collected. Do you want to build it? Yes. The mere hundreds of units of minerals and 2,000 points of magic energy are nothing but water for Lin You, who is now rich and powerful. And just as his voice fell, there was a swoosh in the open space, and a large light lit up. Gradually, a circular pool containing a pool of holy water appeared in front of him, constantly emitting a dim light, looking extremely sacred. Congratulations, the hero transformation pool has been successfully built, and you can convert ordinary troops into hero troops by spending mana. Hearing the prompt, Lin You hurriedly clicked on the building information interface of the transformation pool to check it out. Exactly as mentioned in the introduction. After the troops are transformed into heroes, they will awaken an exclusive talent and gain the ability to lead other plants. Just like their lords, they can take troops out to fight or do other things, and they don't have to worry about the disconnection of spiritual connections if they are too far away. Because once it becomes a heroic arm, that arm is equivalent to a clone of the Lord, completely independent and serving as the link between the Lord and other arms. This is very convenient. Lin You thought about it for a while. The most suitable person by his side to replace him to go out to lead other arms is Lingxi. So he immediately called Lingxi over and let it enter the hero transformation pool. Immediately afterwards, a prompt sounded. 70,000 mana is needed to transform the 7th tier troops. Do you want to transform? Transformation. Lin You took a deep breath and replied. He now has a total of 500,000 mana, and even if he spends 70,000, he still has 430,000, which is enough for him to do the next thing. After a while, Lingxi in the transformation pool was shrouded in holy light, wrapping its entire body inside. At the same time, a faint thread connected it to Lin You. When a ray of light rose into the sky, the reminder sound finally sounded again. Congratulations, the transformation is successful. The current number of hero troops, 1/6. Lin You was shocked, and quickly clicked on Lingxi's information to check. Name, Fairy Envoy Lingxi, Royal Family. Race, Plant, Hero. Level 7, 19/2500. Strength, 795. Physique, 795. Agility, 850. Spirit, 1000, full value. Skills, Natural Mastery, Advanced, Affinity Aura, Coiled Thorns, Power of Domination. Nature Messenger, increases the power of natural spells by 20%. Introduction, the Royal Family of Goblins, one of the branches of the wood spirits promoted to the 7th rank, has a strong affinity for nature, is good at manipulating and summoning plants, and is called the Messenger of Nature together with the elves. So strong. Lin You looked at Lingxi's attribute interface in surprise. The spiritual attribute directly reaches the full value of the 7th order, www.lightnovel.com 1000 points. Other attributes have been improved a lot, and even a new ability has been added. The Messenger of Nature. This should be the exclusive talent for awakening after being transformed into a heroic unit. It's just that Lin You didn't expect that this exclusive ability would be so strong. Directly increasing the skill power by 20% is definitely a huge improvement for Lingxi. Plus the 10% increase in affinity aura. Lin You is sure. Now even the top 7th order demons can't match the power of Lingxi's attack. It really deserves the name of heroic arms. With such strength, Lin You can finally let Lingxi take other troops out for hunting. There are still 5 places, which arm should be converted next? After closing Lingxi's attribute interface, Lin You glanced at the information on the hero transformation pool. He could also transform 5 more heroic units, with a limited number of places. As for ordinary arms, he is reluctant to switch. After all, it costs 70,000 mana to convert one, which is a bit extravagant. So he wanted to reserve the quota for the arms that awakened the royal bloodline, and turn them all into hero arms. And now the Mushroom Demon King is only tier 6, and there is no way to transform it for the time being. He could only put his eyes on Qingting, who had just risen to the 7th rank. Qingting, as the guardian of the territory, is also the first defense of his territory against the enemy. Naturally, the stronger the better. And Ivy's skills are also very outstanding. Even if there is no way to lead other arms to go out hunting, it is still worthy of this conversion quota. Okay, it's up to you, Qingting. If you're enjoying my content, please consider donating a coffee. Or checking out my shirts on TeePublic. 70,000 mana is needed to transform the 7th tier troops. Do you want to transform? The sweet reminder sounded again. Lin You looked at his remaining 530,000 mana and directly chose yes. In an instant, Qingting's huge body was enveloped by a wave of fluorescent light, as if it had been injected with some kind of power. Name, Mad Banshee Ivy, Royal Family. Race, Plant, Hero. Level 7, 12/2500. Strength, 900. Physique, 1000. Agility, 75. Spirit, 820. Skills, Devour, Blood Poison Mist, Forest of Thorns, Bloody Frenzy. Gift of the Earth, relying on the Earth, the recovery speed of injuries is increased by 50%. Introduction, one of the 3 branches of Banshee, Withering, Charm, and Madness, a terrifying plant born for war. Blood can greatly stimulate its potential, and the more you fight, the more brave you are. Same as Lingxi. Qingting, who became a hero, also awakened his exclusive abilities. The speed of recovery from injuries has been accelerated, and its regeneration ability has been greatly increased, and its defensive ability has become much stronger. In this way, Lin Yu has 2 heroic arms, both offensive and defensive, both internal and external. After transforming the Ivy, Lin Yu came to the troops he brought back and checked their experience points one by one. Among the more than 40 remaining arms, some of them were recruited a few days after he came to the primitive continent, and the experience has been accumulated to nearly full value. Most of the remaining half were recruited by him in large batches later, with only a few dozen or hundreds of experience points. Originally, he could have more troops with nearly full experience when he came back this time. It's a pity that many of them were damaged in the battlefield of Myriad Realms, and now they have to recruit and raise them again. Lin Yu took a look at the power of faith in the territory. After 3 days of development, although it has increased to 115 points, which is a little faster than before, it is still a bit difficult to accumulate the 500 points required for the upgrade in a short period of time. So he didn't think too much, clicked on the recruiting interface, and started recruiting troops, ready to directly recruit the 6th tier troops. Money is willful. Isn't it just for now that he has accumulated so much magic energy on the battlefield of 10,000 realms? He still has 460,000 mana. What kind of troops do you want to recruit? And a few days ago, he had a plan in his mind. Prepare to build a different army unit. Thinking of this, he swiped back on the recruitment interface and found a new recruitable 6th order unit, the Silver Edge Grass. Exactly. It is the Silver Edge Grass. Before, when he mutated Silver Edge Grass and saw the infinite proliferation skill, he had a very bold idea in his heart. So it took 6 days to research the Silver Edge Grass to the 6th order recruitable state. Now that there are arms and magic energy, he can also finally implement his previous bold plan. Soon, Lin Yu spent 250 magic energy to recruit a Silver Edge Grass, and then used mutation on it. The mutation of the 6th order troops needs to consume 250 points of mana. Do you want to continue? Yes. Lin Yu answered directly. Immediately afterwards, the Silver Edge Grass began to grow rapidly and mutated. First, a grass seedling extended out and turned into a slender rhizome with leaves. Then a lump on the rhizome condensed and gradually turned into a huge pea like a barrel. Name, Pea Shooter. Race, Plant. Level 6, 0/500. Strength, 378. Physique, 280. Agility, 50. Spirit, 390. Skills, Infinite Proliferation, Pea Shooting, quickly shoots peas from the mouth to strike the enemy with precision. Pea Filling, absorbs the force of nature, filling peas at a very fast speed. Introduction, a mutated pea with good long-range strike ability. Lin Yu. Pea Shooter? Does this type of army really exist? Looking at the attributes in front of him, Lin You looked stunned, but he didn't expect that a new type of troops would suddenly appear at the first strike. Although he once saw someone mention this unit on the regional channel, it was a bit unexpected when he mutated. Moreover, the pea shooter in front of him always felt a little weird, no matter how he looked like a plant in a certain game he played. But his pea shooter is also different. That is, its rhizome is very long, unexpectedly long. And very fortunately, it also inherited the infinite proliferation skills of silver edge grass. Try to multiply and see. Lin You gave an order to the pea shooter. The pea shooter, who was still looking around at a loss, quickly proliferated. And its proliferation is not the same as silver edge grass. It directly extends the rhizome underneath, and then quickly produces another pea, then a third, fourth. It didn't stop until the eighth. It seems that the number of multiplications is also different for different types of arms. The more power of nature consumed, the smaller the amount. Next, Lin You tried the pea shooter's attack strength again. Choo burst into a burst, shooting a series of peas, without any pause, and it could attack very far. That's right, it can be used to garrison the territory. This unit is not bad, and it is very suitable to be stationed in the territory with Qingting. All Lin You did not send it back, but let it take advantage of its long root and stem to climb on the branches of the tree of life, and then hang upside down. After a while, 8 pea shooters hanging in the air appeared above Lin Yu's territory, turning into an all-round sniper fort. After arranging the pea shooter, Lin You continued to recruit silver edge grass to mutate. 55 sixth order arms. It took him a full hour. It's not because there are too many troops, www.lightnovel.com, but because the two skills of hardening and infinite proliferation of silver edge grass are compatible with other plants, and they are inherited randomly after mutation. Therefore, if you mutate a unit that inherits the hardening skill, or an auxiliary plant that is not very useful, Lin You will directly send it back, and then continue to mutate. It was not until he mutated 55 combat arms that inherited infinite proliferation skills that he finally stopped. Looking at the mana again, there were only 300,000 left, which cost him a full 60,000. However, the results are also very gratifying. Looking at the mighty army of arms in front of him, Lin You was in high spirits and waved his hand directly. Proliferate. In an instant, these newly mutated arms began to split rapidly, from 1 to 2, and then, from 2 to 4. The original 55 arms became 220 at once. The entire open space was crowded to the brim. It seems that 4 is already the proliferation limit of these combat arms. Lin You took a look. Those arms that proliferated and split were unable to be upgraded. Only when the main body is upgraded, the proliferating arms will be upgraded accordingly. But even so, Lin You was still very excited. Because in this way, his number of troops is equivalent to 4 times that of others, and he does not occupy a recruiting position. It was also at this time that the mutation ability finally revealed its true horror. It seems that these arms will be cultivated as the main force in the future. Lin You whispered softly. He has even imagined that when all these arms have risen to the 7th rank, a large number of 7th rank arms will proliferate. Just thinking about that scene is very exciting. After recruiting the proliferating troops, Lin Yu's eyes fell on the other side, 2 plants he had never seen before. It was a new type of unit he appeared during the mutation process, so he specially stayed. One is a glowing plant that looks like a lantern floating in the air. The other is a moss similar to silver edge grass, but covered with hardened spikes. Originally, Lin You wanted to repatriate them and replace them with combat plants, but after seeing the introduction of their attributes, he gave up this plan again. Name, Lantern Grass. Race, Plant. Level 6, 0/500. Strength, 0, Physique, 295. Agility, 295. Spirit, 295. Skills, Infinite Proliferation, Fluorescence. The brilliance emitted by the lantern grass has the effect of healing pain in groups. Tranquility, absorbing all surrounding sounds and blocking the transmission of sound. Introduction, Plants that can float in the air seem to be used to create an atmosphere. Name, Armored Moss. Race, Plant. Level, Level 6, 0/500. Strength, 60. Physique, 60. Agility, 60. Spirit, 60. Skills, infinite proliferation, symbiosis, attached to other arms, so that it can obtain all its own attributes and share experience. Armor, incarnate body armor, greatly improve the host's protective ability. Introduction, a moss that coexists with other plants, which can greatly enhance the strength of the host. These two plants are not units that can be used for direct combat. But the skills are very special. Needless to say, lantern grass, the lighting adds to the sound, and it also comes with group therapy. It is quite helpful for the territory. Moreover, there is no light source in Lin Yu's territory, and it will become pitch dark at night, which is very inconvenient. So he kept the lantern grass. Then there was a proliferation and division, and the lantern grass became 8. Floating in various positions above the territory, shedding soft rays of light all around. Sure enough, as mentioned in the introduction, it is very suitable for creating an atmosphere. And another plant, Armored Moss. It's even more peculiar. Its own properties are not high, even to an outrageous degree. But the skill is very weird, it can coexist with other plants, and it can also allow that plant to obtain all its attributes. All attribute plus 60, for a 6th order unit, it is definitely very powerful. The most important point, it also inherited the infinite proliferation skill, and it split directly from 1 to 8. Considering that the skill of Armored Moss is more protective. Lin You called in the body of 8 Dryad generals who had just mutated and let the Armored Moss be attached to them. After receiving the order, the Armored Moss grew rapidly and spread to the Dryad general, covering the Dryad general with a thick layer of moss. It's like wearing a piece of armor, it looks a lot more powerful and domineering. Lin You took a look at the 4 attributes of the Dryad general, and sure enough, all of them have increased by 60 points, directly surpassing the Wood Shadow Dragon, a rare unit. Not bad. Lin You nodded in satisfaction. Although this will consume 1 more arm position, but it can create 8 powerful melee arms, which is not a loss. Next. Lin You recruited 5 silver edge grasses again, filling up the positions of the troops. Now that there is infinite proliferation, he has no shortage of troops for the time being. It is also time to start improving the surrounding environment of Huangsha City. And as the most terrifying silver edge grass, it naturally became his first choice. Thinking of this, Lin You rode on the Mu Rancher and left the territory, rushing towards the gate of Huangsha City. At this time in Huangsha City, many people have already received the news of Lin Yu's return. As soon as he appeared near the city gate, he immediately attracted the attention of those travelers and merchants. Look! It's the Lord of Huangsha City. Lord Huangsha City? Didn't I hear that he just returned from the Battle of 10,000 Realms? What are you going to do? It was the first time I saw a real person, and it really looked like the statue in the city. He seems to be coming this way. The travelers and merchants inside and outside the city gate shouted in surprise and avoided them one after another. A few guards who were in charge of guarding the city gate hurried up to Lin You, who appeared on a wooden lion, and saluted him respectfully. I have seen the Lord. Are you guys in charge of guarding the city gate? Lin You rolled over from Mu Rancher's back and asked in doubt. Back. Back to the Lord, we are recruits of the newly established team. Commander Wei arranged for us to guard the city gate here. One of the recruits replied excitedly. He was a refugee who had just come from Futaba City some time ago. Because of his good strength, he was selected to be in the team to be responsible for the security of Huangsha City. This was the first time he had spoken to Lin You at such a close distance. She was so nervous that she almost couldn't even speak. The same goes for the other recruits on the side. Facing Lin Yu's gaze, they all stood up straight and their faces flushed. Because they are very clear in their hearts. If it weren't for Lin You, they would have starved to death in the wilderness, or died in the mouth of monsters. how could they still have today's glorious days? Therefore, they both feared and respected Lin You, and they did not dare to have any contempt. Lin You didn't know what they were thinking, but nodded suddenly. So that's the case, Wei Gang is quite efficient in handling things. You guys came just in time. Help me to call Xue Changgue over and ask him to bring some people to dig with him. If you are a tool for soil, you say I want to plant trees outside the city. Yes. We're going to inform Director Xue. A few recruits responded loudly, then left in a hurry and ran towards the city, which made passers-by even more curious, and whispered, not knowing what Lin You was going to do. Not long after, Xue Changgue appeared, with hundreds of territorial people with various tools in their hands. Yuyukanshu www.yuyukanshu.com hurriedly came to Lin You. Lord, I heard that you want to plant trees outside the city? At this time, Xue Changgue was still full of doubts. Although the water source problem of Huangsha City has been solved, the freezing of 3 feet is not a day's cold. With the current dry land around Huangsha City, it may take a long time to become suitable for planting. Apart from the seeds given by Lin You, ordinary plants could not be planted at all, not to mention that most places were so severely desertified. If it wasn't for Lin Yu's personal summons, he probably would have thought that someone was making fun of him. Seeing his expression, Lin You probably guessed what he was thinking, and said with a smile. Everyone is here, let's wait here for a while. Then, under the suspicious gazes of Xue Changgue and others, he looked in the direction of his territory. The travelers and merchants outside the city gate also stopped talking, with curious expressions on their faces. Look! What is that? Suddenly, an exclamation broke the silence outside the city gate. Everyone was shocked for a moment, and then they saw a large piece of green, which was continuously spreading towards the surroundings of Huangsha City from the direction of Lin Yu's territory. The speed was so fast that it came to the vicinity of Huangsha City in a blink of an eye, and it was still expanding outward at an extremely terrifying speed. It's grass. Grass is growing on the ground. How is this possible? How can grass grow on this sandy ground? I won't be dazzled, will I? There was a lot of discussion, and the eyes widened directly, and just when they were shocked and inexplicable, the grass had spread to the city gate, turning the entire wasteland outside the city gate into a piece of green. The huge movement outside Huangsha City immediately attracted the attention of countless people, who all ran outside the city to check. When they saw that the outside of the city was completely covered by grass, they couldn't help but let out bursts of exclamation, each with an unbelievable expression on their faces. And under the influence of those meadows, the land outside the city has also become full of life, and it is completely unimaginable that it was still a barren sandy soil before. Okay, send someone to divert some of the water from the moat and start planting trees, Lin You said to Xue Changgue, who was beside him. The best way to stabilize the land and solve the sandstorm is to plant trees and use the roots of the trees to infiltrate the ground, so as to prevent the loss of the land. Now that there is silver edge grass to lay the foundation and a moat to irrigate, planting trees is not a problem at all. Xue Changgue and the others were stunned for a while before finally reacting, and excitedly replied, Okay. Okay. I'll arrange someone to do it right away. The environmental problems of Huangsha City have always been the biggest factor restricting the development of Huangsha City. As residents of Huangsha City, how could they not know about it? Seeing that Lin You easily solved the problems that had plagued them for several generations now, they felt extremely excited as if they had been beaten with blood. Lin You didn't need to say anything at all. He immediately picked up the tools and started digging the river channel to do the water diversion work. Just at this moment, several wooden shadow dragons sent by Lin You also flew back, holding small trees from other places in their mouths, and placed them on the ground in an orderly manner, waiting for the people to plant them. And the 6th Order Wood Spirit Legion that Lin You had just recruited and proliferated also flew out of the territory one after another, and shed a large amount of healing light on the bottom. The spectacular scene made others exclaim in surprise. Finally, for the first time I saw Lin Yu's powerful strength and means. Those travelers and merchants even smelled the business opportunities in Huangsha City, and began to quickly set up land in the city and set up shops. Of course, these are things that come later. After busying himself outside the city for a while, after arranging everything properly, Lin You acted as a shopkeeper and handed over the task to Shui Changgue for the arrangement. And he, while everyone watched in awe, rushed back towards the territory. Congratulations, your actions have been respected from the bottom of the hearts of the people, and you have gained 50 points of faith. A pleasant reminder sounded in Lin Yu's mind. Lin You, who had just returned to the territory, paused for a moment, then immediately became surprised. He quickly called out the territory interface and took a look, and found that the power of belief had indeed increased from 115 to 165. At the same time, a mysterious force poured into his body, constantly strengthening his body, making him increase his strength by nearly 10%. Lin You is sure. With his current strength, even if he faces a sixth-order monster alone, there is no problem. The power of faith is really domineering. After feeling the changes in his body, Lin You came to the Tree of Life and sat down. Rarely is free, so I click on the chat channel to check it out. Haha, I finally came back safely. I was lucky this time. I killed 7 lords from other realms. Me too, I killed 8. I vomited blood. When I robbed the treasure on the first day, I lost more than half of my troops and almost died on the battlefield, thanks to my cleverness. You're fine. Some lords encountered a melee as soon as they teleported over, and they couldn't escape. I don't know how many lords failed to come back this time. It is estimated that there are quite a few. I haven't even seen a single member of the same clan in that battlefield, so I can only live crazily alone. My tier 6 battlefield is even worse. There is a pervert with the full tier 7 arms. Basically, whoever touches will die. Fortunately, I run fast. This situation is a little bad. As expected by Lin You, all the chat channels were talking about the Battle of 10,000 Realms. Excitement, fear, panic, anxiety. All kinds of reactions are intertwined, making the entire chat channel more lively than usual. However, Lin Yu's brows gradually wrinkled. Because he found that the lords of their realm didn't seem to perform very well in the battlefield, and there were even situations where they were killed and pierced, which was horrible. I don't know if this will have any effect on the primitive continent. Lin You couldn't help worrying in his heart, and it didn't take long for his idea to appear. Above the primitive continent. In the endless sky. There was a sudden click, and an incomparably huge crack appeared. At the same time, it was accompanied by a hint that did not contain any emotion, which spread to the ears of all the lords. Dear lords, the Battle of 10,000 Realms has ended. Due to the poor performance of the primitive continent in the Battle of 10,000 Realms this time, the luck was deprived. Once the luck is completely deprived, the primitive continent will be completely destroyed. At that time, everything will be destroyed. Please work harder. Quiet. The entire chat channel was eerily silent. Everyone raised their heads in unison, looking at the huge crack that appeared in the sky, their pupils trembling wildly uncontrollably. All luck was taken away. The primitive continent will be completely destroyed. How can that be? At this moment, everyone was shocked, and their hearts trembled wildly. The original continent collapsed and everything was destroyed. Needless to say, they will all die together. There is no possibility of survival. Even some of the old lords who had heard about this for a long time, when they heard this reminder, they couldn't help but set off a storm in their hearts. Not to mention Lin You, who was hearing the news for the first time. At this time, he was so shocked that he was frozen in place, his eyes were wide open, and there was only that terrifying crack in the sky. Yu reading www.yuyukansha.com. And after the silence, the news in the chat channel also exploded instantly. Damn it. Did you hear the reminder just now? The primitive continent will really be destroyed. This shouldn't be true, right? So many people on the primitive continent, do they all die? This is too exaggerated. It's over, it's over. If I knew this was the case, I would kill a few more enemies. I just got here, I don't want to die yet. Fuck you. Go down and enter the battlefield again, I'll see one and kill the other. You have to be able to kill, too. The lords of other realms are not fools. The sudden news can be described as setting off a storm in the chat channel, causing the lords to talk a lot. Originally, at first they thought that the loss of luck was just an insignificant matter, but they didn't expect it to be so serious. Once the luck is completely deprived, all of them will be buried with them. This is no joke. Lin You looked at the news that kept flying by, and his expression was extremely solemn. There are still 3 months left. It seems that we have to prepare well. The appearance of this accident can be said to directly push the primitive continent to the opposite of other continents. If they want to survive, they must kill more lords from other continents, otherwise, if the situation continues like this, the immortals will be hard to save. Lin You thought he was not a villain. But it was about his own life and death, so he couldn't worry about anything anymore. After thinking about it, he got up and clicked on the recruitment interface. He looked at the remaining 300,000 magic energy, and his eyes gradually became firmer. The repatriation of Tier 6 troops will only return 125 points of magic energy. Do you want to continue? Continue. Accompanied by Lin Yu's firm voice. All the troops he brought back from the battlefield of 10,000 realms were repatriated by him. There are only 5 wood spirits who have inherited the natural control skills, and 5 each of the wooden shadow dragon, the Muron lion, and the Mu turtle. Even those planting arms and auxiliary arms have been reduced to 10. 30 positions are freed up at once. Of course, the ones he left behind were the ones with the highest experience points. Because he wants to build a plant army, composed of proliferating troops. Only in this way will it be possible to turn the tide in the next battle of 10,000 realms. Thinking of this, Lin You directly recruited Yinbianko and began to mutate. As before, as long as it is a class that does not inherit the infinite proliferation skill, it will be sent back by him, leaving only the arms that have inherited this skill. It didn't take long for him to mutate the 30 combat arms, including the group that mutated earlier. There are a total of 85 proliferating arms. Then, under Lin Yu's order, all the arms began to multiply, from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, from 85 to 340. If all these arms are raised to the 7th rank, it will definitely be a very terrifying force. It would be even more exaggerated to add the halo bonus that increases the attributes of the Lingxi group by 10%. The plan for now is to upgrade these arms to the 7th tier before the March period. This may be a little difficult for others, but it is not a big problem for Lin You. Because he has the ancient tree of knowledge, even if he doesn't go out to hunt monsters, he will be able to raise all the troops to the 7th rank before the next battle of 10,000 realms starts. By the time, Lin Yu's eyes gradually became sharper. This time on the battlefield of 10,000 realms, because he had just arrived in the primitive continent not long ago, his arms had not yet been developed, and he was weak, so he had a lot of scruples about how to compete with those old-fashioned lords. But if he was given time, the result would be different. He even looked forward to what the next battle of 10,000 realms would be like. Of course, he also thought about it, other realms may be like him, stuck at the 6th rank and not promoted to the 7th rank. It is even possible that those kings and other powers will use this method to train 6th order lords to dominate the low-level battlefield. This is cruel to the new lord. But the battle between the realms is all about life and death, devouring each other. Is there any place that is not cruel? To put it mildly, the 6th order lord is the least valuable. If a 6th order lord dies, thousands of 6th order lords will emerge. Besides, you are not the only one who knows this method. You can get all the 7th order arms, and you can get it in other realms as well. There is also a kind of check and balance between invisibles. If you want to survive in the cracks, you have to constantly improve your strength. Lord, are you inside? Just as he was thinking, a shout suddenly came from outside the territory. Through the spiritual connection of the demon concubine in the sky, Lin You soon discovered that the figure standing outside the vine forest was Su Zhong, the deputy manager of Shui Changgui's subordinate, and was accompanied by several residents and a food delivery cart. "Come in," Lin You directly asked Qingting to make way for them. When Su Zhong and the others who were waiting outside saw this, they immediately pushed the cart through the vine forest and came to the territory. "What's the matter?" Lin You asked directly. "We were ordered by Director Shui to feed the Lord." Su Zhong respectfully nodded and bowed to Lin You, and some of the lords next to him followed suit, appearing very cautious. "Dinner?" Lin You was even more puzzled. "Yes, the manager said that you are the lord of our Huangsha city, and you can't even have someone around you who will serve you, so from now on, we will arrange for someone to come and eat for you every day. Also, this is some silk material that we bought from the merchant, and the lord's costume that the craftsman sewed, and we also brought it with us, but I don't know if it fits the body of the lord." With that said, Su Zhong presented a set of luxurious lord costumes to Lin You as if offering a treasure. "You did this? Did you spend a lot of money?" Lin You looked at this costume in surprise. Based on his knowledge of Huangsha City, he should not be able to spend so much money to buy this precious material, let alone make it into clothes. This is also the reason why he never wanted to be extravagant. After all, the Territorial people lived so hard. As the Lord here, he naturally couldn't make their lives worse. Su Zhong also seemed to understand Lin Yu's doubts, and quickly explained, Lord doesn't know, the crops grown from the seeds you gave can have magical effects when eaten, and the merchants who passed by listened and tried their best to follow. We bought, so we made a lot of money these days. Magic effect? What else? Lin You said in surprise. He didn't expect that the crops grown from those seeds would have additional effects. He hurriedly came to the plantation manor in the territory, picked a ripe pumpkin, and the next second, an information interface appeared in front of him. Food, pumpkin. Eating effect, speed up the self-repair of the human body and have a slight strengthening effect on the body. Then he dug out another potato, and another interface also appeared. Food, potatoes. Eating effect, temporarily increase strength, and have a slight strengthening effect on the body. Obviously, these fruits and vegetables are endowed with different effects from ordinary plants because of the special relationship of seeds. Although it is only a small amount, it is a huge advantage for ordinary food. It's no wonder that those merchants are fighting to buy. It is estimated that they saw the business opportunities of these grains. With that said, wouldn't Huangsha City rely on this fortified food to attract more people? You must know that these fortified grains are only available to them now, and there is only one nearby. As long as the outflow of seeds is controlled, they can rely on these things to promote the development of Huangsha City. Thinking of this, Lin You immediately told Su Zhong of his plans. Does the Lord mean to monopolize the output of these grains? Su Zhong was worthy of being one of the stewards of Huangsha City. www.mtnovel.com. He understood Lin Yu's thoughts, and his eyes gradually lit up. Lin Yu thought for a while and said, yes, just make sure that the seeds I give you don't leak out in large quantities. The effect of the second grain output will definitely not be as good as the first time, and if you do some propaganda properly, it will definitely attract more people. Come here. Okay, I understand, I'll go back and arrange this matter right away. As it was about the development of Huangsha City, Su Zhong did not dare to neglect him. After ordering the Lord to put away the Lord's clothes and meals, he hurriedly left the territory and hurried back to Huangsha City. At the same time, a reminder sounded in Lin Yu's mind. The daily transaction volume of the affiliated territory Huangsha City reaches 10,000 magic crystals, and the territory tax system is activated. For details, please go to the territory management function to check. Territory tax? Lin Yu's expression was startled, showing a trace of doubt. He hurriedly clicked on the territory management interface to take a look, and found that in addition to personnel scheduling and building management, there was indeed a tax function. Territory tax, Huangsha City. Tax rate, 5%. Function introduction, Within the area of Huangsha City, 5% of the tax is charged for transactions, which can be adjusted up and down freely, but it will affect the beliefs of the people, so please operate with caution. After reading the introduction of taxation, Lin You looked at the resource interface again, and there really was 500 more magic crystals. According to a 1-to-1 conversion, this is equivalent to 500 mana. Although it is very small, it is the first pot of gold that Lin Yu's territory has earned for him. The meaning is completely different. And this is just the beginning. After Huangsha City really develops, will you be worried that you won't be able to earn magic energy? Now, he finally really looks like a lord. Now that he has started to earn income, Lin You can't treat his subjects badly. Especially those territorial people who have worked for him for so long, they can't always use the flesh of monsters to pay their wages. This was fine when everything was lacking at the beginning. Now that Huangsha City has gradually developed, it is naturally impossible to be so primitive. It should always look like a territory. So soon, Lin You clicked on the personnel scheduling function on the territory management interface and started to operate it. Personnel scheduling is a function only available after arriving in the primitive continent. I was not familiar with this place because I was poor, so this function has not been very useful. After clicking on the function interface, rows of information about the citizens immediately appeared in front of them. Lin You thought about it for a while, and directly appointed Shuechanggue as the general manager, letting him be responsible for managing the size of Huangsha City, and obtaining the authority to mobilize some of the tax funds to distribute wages to the workers or develop the territory. Then, he appointed Wei Gang as the commander of the guards, and set up various stewards one by one, so that they could gain some authority to manage Huangsha City. As for how much wages to pay, let Shuechanggue consider it for himself. After all, Shuechanggue has managed Huangsha City for so many years and is very loyal to him. This trivial matter can be trusted, as long as the territory does not suffer losses, and at the moment when Lin You made the appointment, Shuechanggue and others, who were working in various corners of Huangsha City, were suddenly enveloped by a dazzling golden light, making them all stop what they were doing. This is the Lord's appointment. Outside the city, Shuechanggue, who was arranging the people to plant trees, suddenly widened his eyes. With the shroud of that light, Lin Yu's appointment information also appeared above the heads of each appointee. Today, Shuechanggue is appointed as the general manager of Huangsha City, responsible for taking care of matters inside and outside the city, and managing the people under the leadership. Today, Wei Gang is appointed as the commander of the guards in Huangsha City, responsible for public security issues inside and outside the city, and to coordinate the management of the people. The letters of appointment inlaid with gold borders are extremely dazzling against the background of light, attracting the attention of everyone around them at once. Under the shroud of that light, the bodies of the appointed people began to change. The most obvious one is Shuechanggue, who has the highest position. His hunched body gradually became tall and straight. Even the wrinkles on the face and the white hair on the head began to disappear quickly, and the whole person looked much younger. Then, with a sudden mention of his aura, he actually advanced directly from an ordinary person to a second-order cultivator. Even the fifth-rank Wei Gang, whose strength has been greatly improved by the infusion of this power, is only one step away from the sixth rank. This. Shuechanggue looked at his hands in shock and touched his face again, completely unable to believe it was true. But immediately, he reacted, threw away the crutches, knelt on the ground in excitement, and bowed deeply in the direction of Lin Yu's territory. Many thanks to the Lord for your kindness. Shuechanggue will definitely take care of the inside and outside of Huangsha City. At the same time, Wei Gang and other stewards who were in other places also thanked them one after another, and their emotional words were helpful. When the golden light dissipated, all the people on the side surrounded them, expressing congratulations and envy to them. Lin You didn't know that the official appointment of territorial officials would be so compelling that it even surprised him. But that's fine, it saves him the effort to publicize it everywhere. And he also found that after these people were successfully appointed, their personal attributes were also displayed on the management interface. Name, Shuechangue. Position, Director, Huangsha City. Level, Level 2. Army, 14, +0. Ingenuity, 75. Command rate, 30. Internal affairs, 87. Loyalty, 100. Equipment, Cane, force value, +0. Ability, business calculation, skilled in calculation, territorial income increases, by 10%. Name, Wei Gang. Position, Commander of the Guards, Huangsha City. Level, Level 5. Army, 48, +3. Ingenuity, 60. Command rate, 86, +2. Internal affairs, 27. Loyalty, 98. Equipment, steel broadsword, force value, +3. Ability, Gale Blade Technique, 10% increase in the power of the blade, bravery, command +2. The attribute information of the territorial people is very different from the arms, and is scored according to the individual's comprehensive ability. The maximum ability score is only 100 points, and it seems that it can be improved through equipment and the like. Shuechangue scored 87 points in internal affairs, and Wei Gang scored 88 points in command, which is already considered very good. But what surprised Lin You the most was their loyalty. Shuechangue directly filled it up. Even Wei Gang, who had just arrived under him for a few days, had almost reached his full value, which was enough to show how loyal they were to him. In this way, he is also at ease to leave the affairs of the territory to them. After checking the information of other stewards, 100,000 mana energy was converted into magic crystals, which were used as funds for the internal affairs of Huangsha City. Lin You closed the interface satisfactorily and came to the place where the meal was placed just now. I have to say that these territorial people are still very attentive, and they made several fresh dishes for him directly, and they were all hot. Even the dining table has been prepared for him, right next to the Tree of Life. Lin You, who had been tired of barbecue for a long time, suddenly moved his index finger and sat at the dining table to enjoy it. This is the first time since he came to this world, eating such formal food actually made him feel nostalgic. Human, sometimes it is really a very easy to satisfy creature. After quickly finishing the food on the table, Lin You wiped his mouth, got up and picked up the Lord's costume beside him, and replaced the animal skin coat that was already somewhat worn. Then the whole person transformed into a lord exuding majesty. Not to mention, it fits well, and the decoration is not cumbersome. And it's very comfortable to wear, and it's not as intrusive as imagined. Obviously, those territorial people are very attentive when sewing. At least Lin You is very satisfied. There is still a lot of magic energy. Let's upgrade the buildings first. www.lightnovel.com. Lin You took a look at the remaining 170,000 magic energy, and immediately came to the several basic buildings that were unlocked earlier. Previously, due to the shortage of materials and magic energy, these buildings were only upgraded to the 4th level. Now there is so much magic energy, and the mine is nearby again. He didn't have to worry too much. He directly raised the Lord's Castle, Quarry, Production Workshop, and Territory Warehouse to the 6th level. In an instant, the entire territory shone with light, and these buildings began to change rapidly. The first is the Lord's Castle, which has directly transformed from the original wooden house into a magnificent castle tree house, supported by several thick wooden pillars, which are inlaid on the main trunk of the Tree of Life, complementing the Tree of Life. Looking at it from a distance, it even felt like a forest castle. At the same time, it also added 1,000 points of durability to the Tree of Life. As for the quarry, after rising to the 6th level, it changed even more. Building name, Quarry. Building level, Level 6. Building introduction, improve the efficiency of collecting ore in the territory. Gathering efficiency, stone 160%, iron or 140%, copper or 120%. Required for upgrade, 1,500 wood, 1,500 stone, 750 iron ore, 750 copper ore, 3,000 magic energy. The sixth order quarry has not only improved the collection efficiency, but also increased the collection efficiency of iron ore and copper ore. In this way, the speed at which he collects ore will also be greatly improved, and he no longer has to worry about the slow mining problem. Needless to say, the territory warehouse, the storage space has become much larger. What surprised Lin You the most was the production workshop. Added a lot of new things, and a new function. Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.